What is the story about this picture?
Story is that that picture was given to us by Bernard, Fay and family as a home when we first moved in.
Mm.
But what we did, we put it onto that frame because we didn't like the frame.
Oh.
And that's how we got it. But Bernard and Fay, they're both dead now. And the one and only son, David,
Yes.
and he was a cardiologist to do with the heart.
Oh.
A few months ago he just went home and died.
Oh.
Wow.
And he's got a wife
And children?
and a son and daughter. And actually in my will I've left this picture to the one who died.
Mm.
So they go back again into the family. What they do with it is their business, you know. But now it'll go to her. She's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a young widow. She's an optician.
Mm.
And he was that doctor. Very, very nice, David. Very, very nice.
How old he was?
60-something.
Wow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We knew his parents well, Bernard and Fay. Father died of, he used to smoke, but he used to smoke pipes. And you know, inhale, take it into his lungs every,
And we breathe.
yes, so he didn't last very long.
Mm.
And the son, his name, what's his name now? Whatever his name is, he was the man and his sister. But he's gay.
Oh.
He's about 6'6", huge big chap. His name is Barry, but he happens to be gay. So when we went along to the Levaya from his father, he was there with his boyfriend.
Ah.
There you are, Omri. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the story about that picture.
It's original picture or origin?
No.
Oh.
If that was original,
Mm-hmm. It was not here.
that particular would, that would be worth millions
Yes.
by that painter, because there are many done. It's a painting, a proper painting, not just an ordinary photocopy. But this I forgot the name now of the painter, but a very famous one.
Mm.
Well, you know, it's all part of the house. Maisie was the one, the collector. She was the collector, always collecting.
Yes. But she had a very good taste.
Oh, yes, she has.
She has a very good taste.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I'm pleased about that because she loved it, especially brass. She used to collect a lot of brass stuff, you know, little things.
Yeah, all here.
Yes, anything like that. Not that man in there, that's bronze.
Bronzer?
That's bronze. And we were in Selfridges one day, Brent Cross,
Mm-hmm.
in Brent Cross, and we look, you know, just look around, and she saw, oh, she said, I like that. Oh, she said, I love that.
And you said you can have it.
So I said, you can have it. So I bought it for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bronze one. Look, to me, they're all schmeidrays. You know, you collect them. I mean, when I'm ready to go, and Philip, he's one of my executors, all the stuff that is here, that's all be sold off. You know, it's no good to anybody. It's only to the person or to the family, if there's an immediate family.
Mm-hmm.
But to be quite honest with you, I'm not really worried about it. I shan't take any cash with me, only checks.
No.
Checks, yes,
You're going to make it.
but no cash.
Make it. I always say to Hannah, if something happened to me, I do not want to be in like the Jewish tradition, to cover me with a coach.
With a white cloth.
No, I want to be in a box, buried.
Are you going to a box?
Not in Israel.
No, oh.
No.
In Israel, just in the cloth.
I said I do not want that I will be cold.
I know what you mean, but I thought that a box, yes.
No.
Oh.
No, in Israel, my mother in a box, my father no.
So why is that then? In Israel, you see, I know that in Israel, in the Middle East, generally speaking, it's a cloth, not a box. Or in India, they burn the...
Yes.
But cremation, that's burning the body, of course, that is in non-Orthodox Jewish communities allowed.
Yeah,
Like Margaret was done. I mean, I could have had Maisie cremated, but
no.
no, I can't. I couldn't.
We believe after this, no?
Pardon?
We believe after this.
Well, you believe that. I don't believe that.
When,
It's the bone- it's
when
only-
everybody not return. Of course it's
It's your spirit that lives afterwards.
okay.
Because as soon as you die, the spirit leaves you, and that floats about in the air and is looking for somewhere else to settle.
Mm.
That's how they believe it. That's why sometimes somebody says, "I've been on this earth before," and they will tell you stories which actually happened.
Yes.
So I can't give you the answer to that.
Mm. You're right.
So I didn't know that Gideon was in the cloth and your mother was in.
Mother. Because
What difference? I'm just thinking, what difference does it make? Doesn't make much difference, really, does it? Only for those who are left behind. Some thoughts going in there.
yes.
But you go every year, Yom Kippur time,
To
to the graves.
no, I go a lot.
Oh, you go a lot?
Mhm.
Oh, not just on Rosh Hashanah.
Before I go to England, I was in Michal grave.
Did you?
Yes. Sometimes we go to my mother and my father. It's not a particular day.
Now, what
When I
about
feel it.
Chaim and the children? They don't go to Michal's grave, do they?
Everybody is personal, so I don't never ask.
No.
Never ask. Chaim usually go to see the grave of the parents of Chaim in the same בית קברות of Michal, the same cemetery.
James. Yeah, I also feel a bit. You feel tired?
No.
Young man.
Thank you. Sleep a little bit. Take a nap.
I can't. If I don't, I do sit in this chair, I do take a nap sometimes, but I sleep, I don't sleep well. But if I do, it's better on my bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when I can lie down flat.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sleep very well last night. This wasn't a good night for me. But I shall sleep well tonight. Tomorrow I've got Tracy coming, my carer, first thing in the morning.
Okay.
And then I'm free during the day, that is to say I've got a number of things I've got to do. And on Wednesday morning I'm going to...
You have to go to 600 to give to Philip money.
No, I send by post.
Oh, send my post.
Oh yes, send by post. 660 pounds.
60, yes.
660.
Mm-hmm.
No, I sent it by post. I had a letter from the liberal synagogue about the maintenance of the graves. So I said, I phoned Philip about it, I said, send it to me. So I sent it to him, and then he tells me what to do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I don't take it there. No, I send him a check. Yeah. I mustn't forget it.
Yes.
Although there's no urgency, you know.
Oh. They cannot move.
He did have an account. I opened an account for me that he had control over, because when it came to the gravestone, the engraving and all the other expenses, he paid out of that.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have to do anything. I didn't want to do anything about it.
Yes.
I don't do anything much now, you know. I used to, but I don't do much now. But you say that Hannah does all your work.
Yes.
It's marvellous. You've got a wife, a secretary, everything, all in one.
Yes. You're right.
Well, she's a good girl, actually.
Yes. Yes.
And the way she cares for the family and for the children.
Mm.
It's very, very good.
Yes. Yes.
How many children are there? 4 of you?
How many?
Yes.
Mine?
Yes.
I have 3. Leah, Yanir, and Ohad.
Yeah, but there's more.
Now I have a grandchild.
The grandchildren, yes.
6.
Get confused.
6 and 1 is away.
That's it. And one of your twins.
The twins.
She looks very well on that picture. She hasn't changed much at all, has she, Leah?
Leah, no, she's beautiful. And she have a very good heart.
Has she?
A very, very good heart. Always caring, always wearing. And she wanted to pay us money because Hannah took the grandchild to our house. We said no, we do not want your money. Mm-hmm.
You want a cup of tea?
Hmm?
You fancy a cup of tea?
After this. After. She's sleeping. You see, it's not about age.
No. What time did you go to bed last night?
She always gets very early, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
Hey.
I usually at 11, 12.
And you sleep well?
Yes. Yes. I never sleep. I say that if I'm going to sleep, it's a waste of time. Because you're going to sleep.
I know, but the body needs it. I know that I would feel a lot better if I would sleep better.
You see, I'm going to sleep in 11 or 12, and I wake up in 6 o'clock, maybe before. But I don't feel it that I need more to sleep.
But I wake up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And what are you doing?
I get up, make myself a drink,
Okay.
and then I might have something to eat.
Pee-pee?
Yes, that is not, I go while I'm up, I do it, but I don't have to.
Your pills that you take for the prostata, how long it take you to go to pee-pee in the night?
Not long. It's very good.
No, you are awake for pee-pee?
No, what happens is, I wake up, but not to go to pee-pee.
Mm.
I wake up and I think I might as well go while I'm up.
Okay.
But I can do without, I can sleep through.
Mm.
You have to get up.
Yes. 2 or 3 times.
Yes, I don't have to do that.
Perhaps your pills is good.
I don't know. Something that's good.
Mm. I have another problem that my eyes became dry, so I have to put pills during the night.
You spray it.
Yes, I put pills. I wake, it's wake me.
That's it.
So I put and then for sure go to pee-pee and sleep.
I've got, they call it dry eyes, but it
Yes.
means they're actually runny dries. They're wet. It's called dry eyes, but they're always running. And I've got the stuff for it. Sometimes I put it in, sometimes I don't put it in. I get fed up with it, you know.
My mother had the opposites. She always had too much tears.
Yes. She was very sensitive, you know.
Yes, but the tears not was because it's because something.
Yeah, it didn't work
right.
properly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How old was she? I've forgotten.
78. My father was 80. 82. Mm-hmm. He could live more
Yes.
if there's not problem with Odea and I think all the problem with Odea is makes the accident.
Shame. So there you are. I've said so before, it's such a shame.
I don't know, I don't understand how she can live with this. Because she not visit her father. She done something that not do to parents. You don't do such a thing to parents.
You said to me it might be, what is the husband?
Ronnie.
Ronnie might be responsible.
Yes.
And
Sure.
that's possible.
Sure.
There could be an influence, you see. I mean, I don't know him. I speak to him. He's very pleasant to me.
He's in sugar.
He's studying. He's always studying.
Yes.
I feel last time I saw her, Odelia, of course she's got that blonde hair.
Yes.
It's bottle blonde. But her one arm is completely paralysed.
It was a long time before,
That's right.
after the operation.
After the operation. But she seems to be quite cheerful with it. And I think whatever he is, he makes her feel good. And the children. How many children has she got? 2 daughters.
No, one son, one daughter.
Don't even know them, do I?
No. I never heard about them.
The son is the elder one of the two?
Yes. You don't know how much my father take care of the children. He took them. He always buy for them copybook and books for learning. Everything he done. I always ask myself why they do not come and see him when he was in the hospital. The children, not the father under there. The two of them healthy. My father was take care of them all the time.
Why didn't they?
As you say, the reason Ronnie.
Could be. But each time they've made a simcha, you haven't been invited anyway.
No, I do not know how much children they have. Nothing. Completely.
I know, but I don't know. Because she tells me, you see, sometimes when we talk, but then it goes out of my head again. I forget.
It's not matter.
I don't even know what they. You don't know what they do, what work they do.
I know that the son is engineer, and he work in near our home. That's what I know. Before 4 years ago.
I see.
Nothing more, I don't know.
That's the last time you heard.
Yes. The money that you give me, I will send by a messenger.
Is that what you did last time?
Yes, for the post. I put it in another envelope. I will put my name, and I
You
will
do, Omri, whatever. I appreciate that, you know, that you do that for me.
Yes.
Because I want her to have it.
Okay.
And you do it that way. But the other letter, you can put that in the post, can't you?
I put it together.
Put together.
Together.
And who does it for you? A messenger, you post office?
No, I'm going to the post office. I close it good, and I send it by messenger. It's called.
Is that right?
Special pay. I will pay special pay for messenger.
How much does it cost?
Never mind. I can go to the factory, but I do not want to see nobody.
The factory?
Where her son works.
Oh, I see.
But
I appreciate you doing it for me because there's no other way except if I do it through a transfer.
no, it will
But the
cost
bank
you more.
transfer is so expensive.
Mhm.
I feel it's just a waste of time, but you being here.
Yes, yeah, no problem.
And do they know that you did it for me?
Yes. The
Good.
last time she phoned you that
She did.
She did it.
She told me she got it.
Yeah. You will tell me when she phoned it, because she will not tell me I got it. Mhm. Tell me, your father worked in. He was the same profession as you.
Yes, he was.
He teach you?
No, I was only 14.
40.
My
Yeah.
father was in the Russian army,
Okay.
and then he was taken prisoner by the Germans in the First World War. And in the prison camp, he built his own workshop. You've seen the pictures, haven't you?
Yes, yes.
Where he was repairing watches and clocks and that sort of thing. And then he got friendly. He was working for a German man by the name of Vogel in Edlnand, which is not far away from Halberstadt. And he was working for him for a while. and they became friends.
Mhm.
But Vogel became a big Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
But it still made no difference. He still friended my father. So all I know is that when my father was deported with all the other Jews away from Halberstadt, my father took a lot of things over to Vogel and said to him, keep that for my son. Because he couldn't take anything with him to Auschwitz or whatever. So after the war, there was one Jewish man left over in Halberstadt. How he managed to survive it, I don't know. His name was Kalm. C-A-L-M. Willy Kalm is dead now. He was married to a non-Jewish woman.
Okay.
And so I wrote to him because I got to know that he was in charge of a Yiddish, something to do with the Jewish community. And so I wrote to him, and he wrote back to me and says, ach, wie schön, das ist von dir zu hören. I would love to hear from you and all that. And, he told me about when the last Jewish people were deported. I asked him, is there anything that he needs? And so he wrote to me that, he would leidenschaftlich, he desperately would like to have some cigarettes. Because he couldn't buy any after the war. Und Schokolade
Okay.
for his wife. So I got a parcel together with the cigarettes and chocolate and sent it to him, which he received. And he thanked me very much for it. And then I wrote, at the same time, I wrote to him to say that, has my father left anything for you? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote back to say, ach, es tut mir so leid, I'm sorry what has happened and all the rest of it, but your father left me some tools and also a violin.
Okay.
So I wrote back to him, I said, lieber Willi, lieber Herr Vogel, would you please let me have the tools and all that, and I will pay for everything. And he denied that he's got anything. First he said he's got it, and afterwards he says he hasn't got anything, not even the violin. But I've had it in writing. So I sent the letter to Willy Kalm, the only Jew left, and explained to him about this thing. So he went along to Willy Kalm. Sie verdammter Nazi. He told, you damn Nazi, he says. Das tun Sie, mein alten Freund, my old friend who went through all that, and his son. First you said that you have got the violin, and now you deny having it. You deny it.
Okay.
So he threatened him with a court case, because the Nazis were gone then.
Okay.
So he got frightened. What happened? He sent it to me. He sent me the violin and some tools. But the tool, my father had different tools to that. You want to see the tools?
You have it?
Still got one or two left, but nothing. Measuring things, pincette and it's nothing important. And my father had, I know he did have a lathe and all sorts. But apart from that, a jeweler, like I was, you always accumulate. You always look at some diamonds and a bit of gold and a few bits of this and a few bits of that, what you do. So where is it? He denied having anything. But of course, you see, after the war there was nothing there, so for him to buy anything, food and so on, he needed some money. So he sold us, and I didn't get it.
Mm.
But I got the violin, and I got the tools. After threatening, Willy Kalm threatened him with but I didn't want to go to Germany. I could have done, but now I realize I could have done, because the British government, I was a British subject, had a British passport, and the British government were not responsible for anybody who used to be German. who had a previous nationality German.
Mm-hmm.
So if I would have gone over there under the Russians, who run the country, and they would have arrested me for some reason as a spy or whatever, it wouldn't be possible for me to prove otherwise. So Maisie said to me, he says, I would like you to go. Because what am I going to do? You're going just to see what's going on, you know. So I never went. Now I realize, of course, I could have gone. 2 reasons. 1, nothing would have happened to me. And 2, I was never a German national. I was never German.
Mm-hmm.
I was always stateless.
Yes.
My father was stateless. And in Germany, the law goes that you are where your father is.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have gone. And if I would have gone, I would have been able to sort things out. And Billy Callum said to me in his letters to me, he said, you know, I wish you'd come over. I wish you'd come over. I could have done. I didn't have a lot of money in those days, but I would have had enough to go, just to get things sorted. But if I would have had somebody with me, you know, to sort of encourage me or something, to come with me, it would have been different. So I just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
I got the violin. It's not a Stradivarius, but it's made in the Black Forest. It sounded very good, I thought. And there's a man called, I've forgotten his name, he was on the radio, British radio, on Friday night as music night. And there was his band, he conducted the band. And he, I can't remember his name, and he and his wife were friends of a couple we knew very well. So Maisie invited them for dinner one night. So the conductor of the BBC band and his wife and these other 2 friends came along for dinner here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spoke to him and I told him about the story. He said, let me have a look at the violin. So I went upstairs and got the violin down. And the first thing, he tuned it, and then he played it. Beautiful. Not like me. Beautiful. I said, thanks very much. He said, it's a very nice violin. He said, but it's not. It's made in the Black Forest, and there were many of them made. So don't think for one moment that you've got something exceptionally valuable, because you haven't. But it's a very nice violin, and it's got a very nice tone. And so, well, thanks very much. But he played it. It sounded beautiful. Because he's a professional, didn't he? And then these friends of ours in Switzerland, the Bereiter family, Elvira, one of the daughters, who is Maisie's godmother, she's called Nina Mavis Brunner, and she's a representative on the television. I see her on television when she presents her program. And so we became friendly. And Elvira, she was married to a doctor, Dr. Brunner, Paul Brunner, and she had 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, that is the Nina. And one of the boys played the violin, but he was on a 3/4 size. So I thought, they're good friends of ours, so I might as well give him my violin, which I did. Altogether, I'm sorry now in a way, because he doesn't play it anymore. He went in for percussions, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's where the violin is, in Switzerland somewhere now. But I got it away from Germany only because of threatening this Nazi. Although he was friendly with my father. But my father, you see, thought that taking me away there to, I didn't know anything about it. That was during the war.
Yes.
You see, we didn't know, Omri, during the war, that the Nazis would clear the Jews out of the cities and the towns. We knew there was persecution, We knew you had to wear a yellow star, not when I was there, and that you couldn't go into shops and that sort of thing. But nobody ever thought that the Nazis would take these Jewish people and take them to the camps, into the gas chambers. Nobody knew that. So I didn't know that either. After the war, we found out about your grandparents and so on. You see, we knew then. And so they couldn't do anything else, and so I thought I should really go to Halberstadt but it was still under the communist rule, you see. This would frighten me a bit. If it was the Westdeutsch, the western part, I think I would have gone. But with it being in the eastern part, and the communists they could accuse you of anything.
Yes.
So I didn't go. Now, if I would have gone and saw the man Vogel, and I would have, straight out, I would have taken police with me. Because in those days, when you go over there as an Englishman with an English passport, it meant something. I could have taken the police with me and confronted this man, and could have arranged for a search in the house, in his house, and they would have found, because I'm sure that there were some jewels, some gold, like I have. As a watchmaker jeweler, over the years I've been in business for a long, long time, you have these things. And I think he kept that. And he kept it only because in those days you needed it to eat. There's nothing to do with me, but anyway. And that's the story, really. So when I was over there, the first time, I went to Edlnand, which is near Halberstadt. Weberstraße number 2, I even know the address. That is where Wilhelm Vogel had his jeweler shop, his watchmaker shop. And I went there.
Okay.
And I saw the shop. I couldn't go in. I don't know if the man was still alive or not. I just could not go in, hombre. Only simply because I wasn't in Western Germany yet. There was still Eastern Germany, don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some danger attached to it, politically. Now, when it's Western Germany, that's a different story. Now I would go along, but now you can. You can sort things out in Halberstadt, you can go anywhere and sort it out. But in those days it was dangerous, especially with the Russians. They could easily say you're a spy. And I didn't, if I was on my own and I wasn't married, and I didn't have Maisie or something, I might have done it. But like this, I didn't want to put her in danger, so what's she going to do? I'm going and they're keeping me there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the story about that. And so, what happened? I think he had a son, also by the name of Vogel, but I never pursued it. So, that is one part of the story. And then I've got my father's part, who came from Russia, from Vitebsk. I gave you that name before. Quite a large Jewish community there, very Orthodox. From the Städtler, with the way they used to dress and that sort of thing. And so Rabbi Schweiz said to me that with your name, because my name is Schneur Salman, with your name, he says, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it didn't come from a Hasidic family. I said, even if it did, what am I going to do about it? I'm not going to do anything about it anyway. I would like to find out. Now it's too late. I'm 94. They over there are probably all dead now. And if there's anybody still alive...
Nobody to ask.
Pardon?
Nobody to ask.
That's the trouble, you see. And with the Russians being free as it is, allowing people to emigrate, because there are a lot of Russian people moving to Israel, as you know. There must have been a lot, millions actually, from Russia gone to Israel, yes. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they all play the violin. You always see them on the street corners play the violin. Mm-hmm. In Israel, it was a very popular instrument,
And what are you know about my grandfather, Philip? You know what he done, what he walked?
What am I doing about it?
No, I ask, what do you know about Phillips?
What do I know about Philip? You, nothing.
Nothing.
Philip Stahl. I can only go as far as Isidor Mishkovsky.
Isidore.
Isidor Mishkovsky was my grandfather. That was your mother's father, Isidor. And her name, the grandmother's name, I can't remember her name now.
Margaret? Margaret is the sister of my mother, Margaret.
Margot.
Margot or Margaret?
Margot.
Margot, the same name?
No, different. Margaret is different to Margot.
Yes.
Margot was the daughter of your, was the sister of Dina.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Margot, not Margaret.
You knew her? You knew her?
Oh yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Very pretty girl. Lovely girl she was. Lovely girl. Uncle Felix, that was the uncle. And it was his wife was Tante Selma.
Okay.
And that was that part of the family. But it was quite a large family, the Mishkovskis. And there was another one, her name I think was Jenny, and she married late in life in Berlin. I think she was one of the youngest of that large family. Tante Jenny, I think her name was, tell you right. And Tante Jenny married, Jewish man of course, and the boy's name was Dannyline, or Danny.
Daniel.
No, Danny.
Danny, okay.
Danny. Daniel, but they called him Danny. Dannyline. And she was sent to Theresienstadt, concentration camp, where she perished with a child. What happened to the father, that I don't know. But I know that she perished there. And then the other ones, I don't know much about the other. Uncle Harry, he wasn't married. Uncle Arno, he wasn't married. Uncle Herbert, he wasn't married. And they were all the brothers of Felix, of your grandfather. They're all in the army. Uncle Arno, he had a shrapnel in his leg. He was always very proud showing it. Was in the German army in the 1480 war, where they nearly shot his leg off.
Oh.
And he was always showing off his leg. I remember as a boy. Shrapnel. Herbert, Uncle Herbert, he worked for a company called Tietz. They were large retailers like Selfridges in Berlin. He was working there as a sales assistant. I don't know what Harry did. I don't know what the others did. But when I went there on holiday, and I think the street was called Magazinstraße, that is where your mother lived.
Magazinstraße.
Magazinstraße.
Wow.
Magazinstraße, yes. That's where your
My mother.
your mother and husband and the sister, Margaret, lived. And I remember they were dealing, that something to do with books, magazines or something. When I went there from Halberstadt on holiday or whatever, I used to play with your sister, with your Alice, with your mother, like a bookshop. Yeah, it's funny how I remember these things. And there were dozens and dozens of these magazine books. And we used to, either she sold them to me or I sold them to her. She was only about, how old was she, 8 or 10? I was about the same age, you see. Or she was a bit younger, I can't remember now. And then I used to go with her to Kaufhaus's Westens, KDW, which is a big shopping centre. And the reason I used to love to go there is because of the moving staircase. I used to go all day long, up and down the stairs. I loved it, up and down the stairs. It was very nice. And your grandparents were very nice, as far as I remember, Henri.
Yes, I know.
They're very nice people. And so was Alice, that is Dina, and Margot. Margot was the younger sister. But Alice was my age, so we used to play together with these things, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. This is from my carer, Tracy. She always thinks I'm starving.
Oh,
She's a very nice lady. She's about 40, 41, 42. She's a single person, single mother. She's got a daughter aged 16, 17. She was married to an Arab, and she had a very bad time.
Mm.
And the daughter is a very lovely girl, very nice. Her name is Zara. And Tracy, she comes on a Tuesday morning, like tomorrow morning. She'll be here, always Tuesdays. She does the washing up, empty the bins, does the my bed and that sort of thing. And this is what she sends me. She's texting me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cooking mixed beef and rice. Shall I? Wait a minute. I missed it. I'm cooking mixed beef and rice. Shall I bring you some tomorrow?
Nice.
She's very...
She think about it.
Henri, she is very nice. She took me out yesterday for my birthday.
Mm.
She's the one who took me to Chinese.
She woke up.
Gut geschlafen.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about family.
Very
Henri
interesting.
loves to listen to... he loves to listen to... Well, you know, obviously he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the only one who still knows something about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But not, not the absolute details.
You know who loved to listen to this story? Roy.
The son of my sister.
Roy.
With
That's
a,
it. You will have to tell him then.
Mm-hmm.
He likes the family stories.
Mm-hmm.
See, the trouble is, when you're the age I was, I came here, I was 14, but younger, you don't ask questions. I didn't ask.
The same.
You don't ask.
Same.
You know, I mean, it is Uncle Arno, say the brothers of your grandmother. They were all in the army, in the German army.
Philips also was in the army. The father.
Was he also, you see?
He was a heart in the family. He get bullet.
He did what?
Bullet.
He got a bullet, yes.
Yes, somewhere, I don't know where.
Well, Uncle Arno got shrapnel in his leg. So they were in the army.
Mm-hmm.
And they were true, honest, straightforward Germans.
Yes.
They were Jewish, of course they were.
But the things that will not happen to them, nothing.
But that's it. That's what they thought. So anyway, they all were born in Halberstadt. And they decided, obviously, to make a move because there was nothing happening there. And they all moved to Berlin,
Yes.
except Tante Martha.
Who is that, the Martha?
Tante Martha is the mother of what's her name, who died from Kiel.
Mushi.
Mushi, yes. That's Tante Martha.
Okay.
Tante Martha married out. She married a non-Jewish man.
Also, he does there too.
Daughter too, because the daughter was up as a Catholic. She's buried in the Catholic Church.
Yes.
Oh, yes. One of the friends sent me a picture a long time ago of the grave.
Oh.
Flowers, yes. She was brought up as a Catholic.
Okay.
But Tante Marta, of course, she was Jewish. Her husband wasn't. But she died in 1942, Tante Marta.
Before the war.
During the war.
During the war.
Naturally. No Nazis, nothing. Naturally. And there were quite a number of...
Why Mushi had one eye?
I can't tell you that.
No.
She's also had a problem with her legs.
Yes.
Don't know. But it's from birth. You don't ask, do you?
No.
Don't.
No.
I mean, you used to make fun of her, you know. She used to come to Halberstadt, and she always used to put the one eye into a glass of water. And, you know, so I took the glass of water, and she was looking for it.
So she was young when she
Young.
she lose her eye.
That's right. And I was running about with this glass of water and the eye, and I wouldn't let her have it.
Oh.
Wow, wow, wow.
But you know what children are? Dreadful, when I think of it. And then she had an operation on her feet, on the ankles at the back, so that she couldn't move her feet. So that's why she was shoveling.
You know, she come to Israel.
Yes.
And she see my mother. She will love Israel. And we went to Nahariya and she bought a lot of gold. She loved gold. And she said to my mother, when I go back, I want to check my will for you. And then she go back, she get to operation, she died.
There was no will.
No. My mother said, go, go. I said, what to go? What? She only went to hospital to check up. And she don't get out from the hospital.
She was, as far as I mean, I didn't know what was wrong with her. But when I visited her one year, I was in Hamburg. I think it was Hamburg. I was there on business.
Okay.
And Hamburg, it's fair distance to drive up, but I did. I drove all the way to Kiel and stayed in her bungalow. It was very nice.
Very nice.
We was
We've
there.
been there. And
the 2 floor, it was downstairs.
I
was,
can't remember, Henri.
Oh.
However, I never, you see, you don't ask. I didn't ask what's happened to you. What can I do? Even if you ask what's happened to your eye, I can't even think about it anyway.
Yes.
Or what happened to your legs. But I knew about the legs because I heard them talk about it. Whether something can be done to correct it. You see? So, yeah. She wasn't all that old, really. Was 70 odd.
Not so old. She was full of ambition.
But you never hear anything from the husband or anything. The husband died
husband
before
died
her.
there before. He was Nazi. During the war.
Was he a Nazi?
Yes. He was a Nazi.
It saved her life.
Yes, she says so. She says so.
As I say, she was, although she was Jewish, by Jewish law, he was Jewish.
Yeah, she was.
She was.
She always said, "Wir wollen meine Tasche, wir wollen meine Tasche."
Yes. And she came here. She visited us.
Mm.
She stayed here with us. I took her here, there and everywhere. The only thing is she couldn't travel in the car very often.
Mm.
So, and maybe it was the car, but I had to stop now and then. She was sick, actually sick.
Oh,
Yes.
because
But,
we took her to the Dead Sea, a long way.
Yes.
We, Hannah and me,
Yes.
took her to the Dead Sea.
Yes.
You remember? We stayed
She was
over-
being looked after by that son. I mean, let's face it. You know, I don't know about the other side of her family.
No.
I don't know about the man there. All I knew is I remember him seeing a picture of him with a gun. He used to go shooting, you know,
Hunting.
hunting, yeah. Hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And, but anyway, you know, I don't know. They fell in love and married her. I know nothing about it. I can't ask anybody. I can't even ask for Tante Marta. I mean, you know, Tante Marta was brought up in a very Orthodox Jewish home. Because our grandfather Isidore, and also his wife, and that they were kosher families. You know, it wasn't just ordinary kosher, it was proper kosher families.
Mm-hmm.
And they lived the proper kosher way, orthodox. And
Uncle Lou. You remember Uncle Lou?
Uncle Lou, he was married to Tante Leah.
Yes.
Yeah, but he was nothing, I knew, yes, of course I knew, but he had nothing to do with the family as such before.
No, he came to Israel.
Tante Leah, I know, Tante Leah came to England as an au pair.
As?
Au pair, domestic,
Okay.
for Dr. Symington. Dr. Symington Soups. That's where she came from, Berlin. And she settled in Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was on Hachshara in the kibbutz in North Wales, after 18 months, the war's already started, they decided to finish with that camp. And so all those who were in the camp had the opportunity to go to other camps, Hachshara or kibbutz, which I always say was not my lifestyle. That wasn't for me at all. So when the opportunity came for me to go somewhere else, where do you want to go? I'll join my aunt in Leicester. That's what happened, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So Tante Leah got me this bed-sitting room next door to her, and she did the cooking and all that, and I was in Leicester, and I met Maisie, and that's where the story begins again.
Yes.
That's how I got to Leicester. But while I was in Leicester working, I was the manager. I was only 18. I was the manager. Of course, mind you, in those days it was easy to be a manager. There was nobody else there to compete. Everybody else was in the army.
Yes.
So, you know, I don't kid myself that, you know, what did I know? Not all that much. And Frank Cohen, who was the owner of the businesses, had about 6, 7, 8 shops, something like that. And he sent me to Bournemouth, to Boscombe. He bought a business there. And although as young as I was, I had a bit of an idea how to get a business started.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent about a fortnight, 3 weeks there. And while I was there, I met somebody who had a business in the West End of London, Piccadilly, a jeweller shop. And they offered me a job to work in London. And that wasn't all that terrific, because in those days you couldn't get anybody. I mean, there are not many people about, you see, and I didn't know all that much about it. But I always made a good impression, although I say so myself, you know, I was always nicely dressed and always spoke well and so on. I didn't take that job. But I think to myself afterwards, if I would have taken that job, I wonder what would have happened. I wouldn't have married Maisie to start with, because I wouldn't have met her.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have been in Luton. I would have been in London. Leicester Square, that's where the shop was. And who knows what contacts I would have made there. You don't know, do you? You don't know what. That's fate.
That's fate.
That's just fate. It's just, that's what happens. I sometimes think, not now, but in the beginning, I wonder what would have happened if I would have taken that job on in Leicester Square. It was a good pay as well. Yes. I would have had to find accommodation, you know, lodgings, and that wouldn't be too difficult, but it's right in the West End. Right in Leicester Square was the shop. It was called Robinson's. Doesn't exist anymore. It's probably been taken over by some. You see, this is what happens. It's all ifs and buts. Life is all ifs and buts.
Mhm.
Now, if Robinson's, for example, would have been taken over, it might have done, by the James Walker Group. The James Walker Group of jewellers had about 160 odd shops. Very well established, old established English firm. They used to buy ready-made businesses. So when Robinson's in Leicester Square was sold, it's possible, just possible, that James Walker bought it. And if James Walker would have bought it, they would have bought me with it, wouldn't they? So who knows? You know, I might have been chairman of the James Walker Group Public Company. And if you become chairman of a public company, James Walker, you even get a title from Her Majesty.
Oh.
Usually. So I would have become Sir John.
For us, we can choose.
But the chairman of the James Walker Group, an Englishman called Jimmy Saunders, very, very nice man, lovely dead man, very, very nice man. But he never got the title. Why? Because he was caught at the customs one year bringing over 2 fountain pens, gold fountain pens, and he didn't declare them.
Okay.
That is a black spot against. Maybe today is different, but in those days it was like a criminal offence, like you murdered somebody.
Also here, now, for example, there is a rich man in Israel, so now in Russia. He owns a lot of property in Israel. He has also a house in London, and he diamond, German, he tried to enter to Israel, diamond by people, and they catch him. And now they catch his sons that live in Israel, and they catch. It will be a lot.
Yeah, but what happened in Israel, you don't lose anything else except your livelihood. What I'm talking about is getting the title from the Queen.
Oh.
You see, once you become chairman of a public company,
You become a
very
sir.
likely, it is 99% certain that you become a sir. You're knighted. Because most of the chairmen of the public companies are sir, somebody.
Mm.
But because he's done that, that was a black spot against him. I mean, I've been in prison once, I told you.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think if the Prince of Wales would have known that, I wouldn't have been invited. Yes, you'd never know my story.
No.
When I came to Leicester from Hachshara in North Wales, one Pesach night, Erev Pesach, I was invited to the Seder night. I think it was the rabbi there, I can't remember now exactly, but I think it was, for Seder night. I
Okay.
accepted it in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And he lived the other end of the town, in Leicester. And so I went along. And then when it was finished, I walked home, because in those days there was no buses and things in the evening. And that was a fair way to walk. And I was working as a waiter in a conservative club, living in. I didn't live outside, I lived in the building. So when I got to the conservative club, after 10:30, because there was a curfew, all foreigners had to be indoors by 10:30 at night for security reasons, you see. And I was a foreigner, 10:30. So when I got to the conservative club, I couldn't get in. Knocked at the door, knocked at the windows. I threw stones at the windows and all sorts. I couldn't get in. So what am I going to do? How old was I? 16, 17. So I thought, what am I going to do? Can't stay out all night, so I went to the police station. And I told them who I was and what has happened. And this lovely old policeman said to me, oh dear, he said, my boy. He said, now what are we going to do? He says, you better stay here tonight. So he put me in a cell. Didn't lock the door.
Okay.
And I stayed in a hotel. I was in a hotel. I was in the police station all night. And the next day, Henri, they made me an English breakfast.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic. It's lovely. But what I didn't know, that in the end I got to pay for it. Because they took me to court.
Okay.
because as a foreigner, I was out after 10:30.
Oh.
And so the magistrates, the judge, dismissed the case, but he charged me costs, 4 shillings.
4
shillings in those days.
Yes, for the breakfast?
For being out after hours. But that paid for the breakfast.
Oh, okay.
That's when I was in prison, yeah. One night, I think that if the Association of Jewish Refugees knew about it, they would never invite me again to see it. I don't make a secret of it. It's one of those things. It didn't last very long, this curfew, and only a few weeks. And they realized that they've got a lot of foreigners who are working, for the war effort. German nationals, Austrian nationals, and
Yes.
Czechs and so on, that they can't have a curfew and have them work as well. For some of them did night work and all sorts. So they took that law away, and then we were free to do whatever we wanted. And then I thought, well, I think I ought to really learn how to drive. Although I did drive, in the North Wales. When the baker used to come along, he used to say to him, can I drive? I was only 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to go into the old van and I drove it.
Okay, nice.
Yes, and I managed it, I loved it. And when I was in Leicester, I wanted a driving license, so I went along, and you managed to get, in those days, a provisional driving license. 12 months. That was a green one. So I got it, but I never drove. I just got the license. So after 12 months, I went to get another one. I got another one. And after 4 years, they gave me a driving license. So I never passed the test.
Oh, wow.
Never
wow.
passed the test. Didn't have to.
But you drive very good.
Well, now, of course, yes. I think that I would have managed to pass the test as well.
Of course.
But I never had to. Yeah, I was quite an experience there with that prison, I tell you, in Charles. I must have been as white as snow. And, it was a prison. But you see, the English, it was different to the German Nazi, the police there. The English are very kind. They're very kind people. And I was a young man, only 15, 16, I think I was.
Yes.
16, 17, something like that. And, he just looked at me and says, well, you better stay here tonight, young man.
Nice.
So that's it. I stayed in prison all night. So I'm an ex-prisoner. Remember?
Yes, but after 10 years, it's gone. The charge.
But otherwise, I have had no... yes, there's another case I had while I was in business. You have to be so careful. People come along to sell you things in the shop. And this man came along, and it wasn't my shop. I was working as a manager. And this man came along to sell me this gold Rolex watch. Although it was a Rolex, but it was, today would be worth a lot of money. But in those days, the casing was thin and all that. So I looked at it, I said to him, look, all I can give you for this is £4. I remembered, you see, £4, I said, because as a watch it's in a poor state. But he said, I'll take that. What's the name? So-and-so and so, wrote it all down, lovely. So he went into the old gold box. 2 days later the police came along. Did you buy a gold Rolex watch? I said, yes. I said, I've still got it here. Now you see, if I would have bought that and paid for it myself out of my pocket, there would have been trouble. But I bought it with the firm, with the proper papers, got the man signed for the money and so on. But they took me to court for buying stolen property.
It was stolen.
Whereas he stole it. This man stole it from somewhere. In fact, he stole it from someone just round the corner from a pub. So anyway, the firm lost, my company lost the £4 because they didn't. You shouldn't have bought it in the first place. And I said, well, we didn't know that it was stolen. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they took the watch away, and that was the only time I've ever really had any trouble. But since then, I was very careful. You know, you never know. Somebody comes along, you say, if you came along to sell me a ring, I mean, I can't say to you, is that stolen, or where did you get it from? How can I? So I bought very little. I bought, but, you know, only when I'm
Sure.
100% certain, yeah. Yeah. Then in the east end of London, I was parking there one day. I'm going back many years ago now, 50, 60 years ago.
Okay.
And I parked there, and I got a ticket for parking. How much did they charge me? 30 shillings. £1.50. In those days, £1.50 or half a packet of wages.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I'll fight this, you know me. I'm young, I'll fight this. So in the end, it cost me twice as much. Henri, that taught me a lesson.
Yes.
You want 150, you have it. Gesundheit.
Lovely.
I just recently had a ticket driving on a bus lane. You know there are bus lanes in the roads? Do you have that in Israel?
Okay.
The main roads, there's certain areas which is for buses only. You as a private
I know,
individual.
sir. Yes, I know.
Yes. But you see, when I drove into the bus lane, I was only about 3-4 meters in the bus lane, that's all, because I had to turn left to go into my chiropodist. My shoe, I could have gone a little bit further before I turned in. But I went into the bus lane a few meters, 4 or 5 meters, and I got a ticket. If you pay straight away, it's £45. If you deny it and it goes to court, it might cost you £90. So what did I do? Paid the £45. I don't fight this anymore.
You're right.
For me, it's a thing of the past. You know, who wants a Kopfverdreh, as they say in Yiddish? Kopfverdreh, you know, your head, it's ridiculous.
Mm.
So I know that they were right, but they were wrong as well, because I had to go into the bus lane a little bit to go into my chiropodist. But I could have gone further. So I said to the girl over the phone when I talked to her, I said, look, if I would have stayed in the non-bus lane before I turned into there, I said, and there would be a row of traffic behind me, I would have to wait and stop the traffic until it's cleared. Makes no difference, she said. Sir, you must not go into the red. I said, okay, forget about it.
Mm.
I nearly said, you know, whoever charged me for it, they should die tomorrow.
Mhm.
All these little things happen, you know.
That's life. Can happen to everybody.
Well, you know, in business, although I don't have much problems in the business, except one day just came to my mind, a black man, a head taller than you are, picture. He bought a ring, a signet ring, gold, just plain gold ring, about a fortnight, 3 weeks before, and it was completely squashed. So he came in to complain. He said, look how this has gone. He said, look, I bought this ring, look at it. I said, I hope you haven't hurt yourself, sir, when you caught it in the door. He says, I never caught it in the door. I said, well, it can't go like that, and I don't know what it did. It's impossible. I said, I'm afraid that it's absolutely impossible for this to go itself like this. He says, well, it did. He insisted on it. I said, okay, hold on a minute. So I got the workshop to send me down the special tool which I've got with the mallet, and right in front of him I straightened it out to give it a real, you know, with a hammer,
Okay.
to make it round again. I said, Now, can you see what I've just done? It's impossible to put it back again just with a pair of hands. He says, well, you know, I can see that. He says, I don't know how it happened. It saved his finger. He still doesn't know. He didn't know how it happened. But it can't go on its own like that. It was squashed. Then I hammered it out right in front of him. And that convinced him that it can't happen on its own. Yeah, all sorts of things happen in the show. But it's all life, isn't it? Sometimes at the time you think, oh, it's nasty. What about a cup of tea? Would you like a cup of tea?
No?
I'm full.
I'm full as well. You're not pregnant, no?
No.
No, I
I
don't
can't.
think so.
You enjoyed your lunch today as well again?
Yes,
very,
it was
very
very good.
It was different, wasn't it?
The company is something.
I know that, Omri, but even so, you still don't like to sit down and have some rubbish
No, it's
to eat.
not.
But as it happens, you see, I mean, I wouldn't take you just anywhere without knowing beforehand what we are going to get. But having been there before with you this week, or last week,
Yes, last week.
and I know they're cooking. A pity, of course, that you don't have the lamb, the liver. Because the liver was very nice, with the onions and so on.
But the liver was with
I'm not sure what liver it was, whether it was pork liver, pig liver, lamb's liver, and certainly not chicken liver.
no.
But it's either beef or lamb. Could have asked. Because you see, the doctors
never
always
mind.
say to me I must have liver because of the blood, of the iron.
Also to me. He said to me, after
Say.
the operation, he said, so I eat a couple times. I not enjoy it, but I eat.
I said that to not Tracy, my carer who's making this meal for me, the other one, Susie. She's not very well at the moment. I've got to text her and see how she is. And I told her some months ago,
You phone her to ask how she feels?
I text her.
Okay.
Oh yes, I text her. How she is. And anyway, I told her, after having seen the doctor, that I'm iron deficient. In other words, I need more iron. And the iron, of course, is, you can either take the tablets, for sure. Have you ever tried those iron tablets?
Yes. It make you,
I can't take them.
it's not good, it give you,
Horrible. That's
so-
right, the brown ones, I don't like them.
and you have, you can't go to the toilet. It's make,
You get compensation. You get, yes, constipation.
constipation.
Constipation. I don't like them. So, ordinary liver. So I mentioned it to Susie, my carer. So what happened? The next day she turned up with 10 portions of liver, lamb's liver. And I told her because I wouldn't have, I don't like the pig liver. I prefer the lamb's liver. Lamb's liver and onion and cream potatoes and peas.
Sounds
So
good.
she put them in the plastic container. That's one portion at a time. Lovely. Lovely. Put it in the freezer. Now Tracy is making whatever she says. She's bringing it tomorrow because she's coming tomorrow morning to bring that for me. But she is best. What she does best is soups. She makes some lovely soups. The last lot was coriander and carrots.
What's this? Coriander.
Coriander.
What is that?
It's some vegetable, I don't know, coriander vegetable, with carrots. And it was a thick soup. In other words, when it's frozen, when it's cold, it's thick. And then you put it into the microwave and out it comes it's lovely, absolutely lovely. Although I like the consommé as well. You know, I like the lokshen soup, the chicken soup,
Collection.
the lokshen soup. Oh yes, I do like the lokshen soup. But I don't like it when it's too fat, Henri. I always remember my mother going back years and years in Germany. She never liked to see the eyes. because when it's fat, you see the round eyes, looks like eyes on the soup, on the lobster soup, because too much fat. She used to take that off.
Schmalz.
No, well, it's like schmaltz, but it's too fatty. But when Maisie used to make, I always tell people, Maisie used to make lobster soup. She learnt it from Sally, because Sally used to know how to make it. And Sally always put onion in it, because I used to get the onion. Onion, carrots, and the lokshen, of course. And Maisie always said that the kosher chicken lokshen soup tastes better than the non-kosher. She did, honestly. So when we had a kosher butcher in Luton, a man called Fachler, I haven't got one now, but we did have, she used to send me to Fachler to buy the chicken for the chicken soup. But then we also got the giblets. You see, can you buy the giblets? Do you get the giblets with it, or do you have to buy it separately?
I don't know what is giblets. Don't know what is giblets.
The stomach, the heart. The stomach, the heart, the liver, inside the chicken.
Okay.
You never heard of it?
The stomach, yes. My mother used to...
Giblets.
Yes.
Even the neck. They fill the neck.
So, wow.
That is typical. Actually, it's typical Polish.
With a neck?
Eastern Europe, that is, yes, the filled neck. But the other one, the giblets, at one time you used to buy a kosher chicken, or even normal, non-kosher chicken, there was always the giblets with it. And I used to love the heart and the stomach, and you know, those bits, I used to love it. But for some reason or other, you don't have it anymore. You go to a non-kosher shop, you won't get a chicken with giblets. But you go to a kosher butcher, you can buy it separately. So you can buy a bag of giblets, because I don't go now, so I don't do it. But otherwise I would take them, just boil them in water,
yes.
Bit of salt, you know,
Yes.
and because I love those, always did like the giblets. But Maisie used to make the lokshen soup, and you know, it was lovely. Still got the pot. The pot that I've got is big enough for a large chicken, you know, one whole chicken went in there.
Still. Pork.
Lovely. Loved it.
You hungry? You hungry?
I'm starving.
I see.
Omri,
You
I
know,
don't...
the person start to speak
I
about food is hungry.
I don't eat anything like I used to. At one time, you know, when I was younger, I had a good appetite, a really good appetite. I could eat, say on a Friday night. Maisie never used to do it, but only when Uncle Lou was here. When Uncle Lou was here, she made it for him. I had to go and buy the stuff, you know, from the kosher shops. But when I used to go to Sally and Henry or to Rabbi Schwei, to start with is the Bolge filter. Out of this world. With salad, I don't know what salad she makes it. Rivka, she makes it a lovely salad to go with it. Would you like another one? I said, Rivka. If I have another one, I won't have anything else that you've got.
Tell me, Mother, Uncle Lou was married after Tante Leah?
He was married to Tante Leah.
Yes, but after this, after she died. Because...
I don't know what your question is.
You say this sometimes that Uncle Lou have a son.
2 sons.
2 sons.
Uncle Lou has got 2 sons.
So
living in America.
It's from Tante Leah?
No.
No.
Tante Leah was over 50 when she married.
Okay.
Tante Leah came over here as a spinster from Germany, unmarried.
Okay.
And Uncle Poldi,
Yes.
Uncle Poldi, from who had the 2 boys who died, and Tante Jenny, that was Uncle Poldi came over here, and he was going to bring his wife out, as well as the boys, which he didn't, they perished. And Uncle Poldy was taken from Britain to Australia. And a lot of the German Jewish refugees were taken out of this country to Australia because it was too dangerous to have them here in case they are spies. So Uncle Poldy went to Australia.
Okay.
And when he was in Australia, he got married twice. Both died. The first wife, I've forgotten the names now, he came with her to the UK to visit.
Okay.
And then he married again, the second wife. They're both widows. They both had children. And Uncle Lou never had any children anymore of his own. And he was in the furniture business.
Furniture?
Yes, and he had 4 or 5 shops. He started with nothing. So he did very well.
Who, Uncle Lou or
Uncle Lou?
Uncle Lou.
Uncle Lou. And he had the shops, and he got married to the old Jewish women. And one of the, now let me tell you right, Uncle Lou was married before,
Okay.
Tante, and his wife died.
And he had from her 2 children.
Correct.
And now I understand.
He had 2 children from his first wife. So, and one of them, we knew them.
David or something.
I can't remember the name, but
Daniel, David.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
One of them got married, very orthodox, and settled in the United States with 7 or 8 children. Used to be in contact with them at one time. And the other one stayed in Australia, in Sydney, with his mother. Also very nice. But his mother married for the second time because her first husband died, you see, in a motor accident. That's why she married again, this Uncle Charlie, I think his name was. But unfortunately, Uncle Charlie found himself another girlfriend, messing about. So she divorced him. Very upset about it. She was very, very upset about it. But Uncle Lou, he came over here. Was he in Germany? Yeah, he came to Israel, because he lived there for a while. He came to visit us here. Stayed with me here. And my Maisie, she went out and bought all new cutlery, sort of kosher, because we weren't kosher at home, to make it kosher for him. And the tablecloth, the challah cloth, we got everything here. And the candle, of course, still got the candlesticks, the silver candlesticks she used to, yes. She used to, on a Friday night, so Uncle Lou was here, we made a proper Shabbat for him. Lovely. And then I took him to shul the next day. Mind you, he was a reverend, but he wasn't a Meshuggah, He knew if he wanted to go to shul, he used to use a Shabbos car, like I do. So I took him to shul, and he got an aliyah and all that, and he was very happy. And he stayed with us, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, something like that. But strictly kosher in the house. Maisie made sure that everything was kosher for him. And then in the end he went back to Australia, didn't he?
Oh, he came to Israel.
For a while, but then he went back to Australia. He didn't die in Israel.
No, he didn't die in Israel.
But he went to Israel, and
he went to Israel. He went to us.
But he couldn't settle.
He stayed in our house.
Yes.
And then he said that he wanted to stay in Israel, and we bought it. And he rented a flat for a short time. I remember we bought for him everything for the kitchen, and he bought to the flat. And then one day he said that he going back, and he go back, and I heard that he died.
He went back, and he went into the home.
Home, yes, home. From the home.
He went into the home, and Tante Leah was in the home as well.
Okay.
And it was she who died first.
Yes.
He died afterwards. And I don't know whether I told you this, but we went out there, to visit her. But she was already, she didn't, she was sitting there like this. So we went along there, and I said to her, "Hello, Tante Leah, we are come here from England to visit you." "Tante Leah, wir sind hier von England, dich zu besuchen." All of a sudden, she woke up, spoke to her in German. She looked at us. She had a big smile on her face, because she loved Maisie, when she was in Leicester. She looked at us, and she smiled, and then she went back to her. And then we went home. 3 days later, she died. So she was quite happy there, with Uncle Lou. A handsome man he was.
Yes, it was nice.
Very nice man. But his first wife was killed in a motor car accident, I think. But you see, I'm not in contact with these people anymore.
No.
Especially as they divorced. You see, she divorced. She was playing about with somebody else, and Charlie was his name. Charlie was playing about, and so she divorced him. Very surprised, but it happens. It happens. But now I'm not. But the other contact with Uncle Lou's sons, the one in Australia, I don't know if the mother's still alive or not, but the other one in United States, we were in contact with the one in the United States, but very Hasidic, very Orthodox, because Uncle Lou was,
Yes, yes.
And we were in contact with them in the United States. I can't remember now whether we went to a Hasidic wedding in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, was it Uncle Lou's family? I can't remember that now. Anyway, we went there for the Hasidic wedding. So we arrived there on a Friday. So I phoned, no reply. I kept on phoning, no reply. I thought we got the wrong number. Because what I didn't realize, I should have thought, who answers the phone on a Friday night?
Yes.
Not the Hasidic people.
Of course.
What a waste of time.
Uh-huh.
So when Shabbos was finished, the next day, and I phoned again, I came to me, and I phoned, and we were very worried, we never heard of you. Because in those days they didn't have answer phones, you see. So I told them the story. I tried to phone you, but that was very orthodox. Have you ever been to a Hasidic wedding?
No.
Women have to have long sleeves.
And PR?
And not necessarily. I went to a Hasidic wedding of one of my diamond ring manufacturers in London. His name was Eisenthal. I got a feeling he's still alive. I ought to really phone him. Used to phone him every Rosh Hashanah time. Used to wish him, well. And I knew him, but he was a very big help to me. Because when I first started in business, you know what it is with diamonds and rings and stuff. I mean, if you got £10,000, you can't see anything. And he helped me a lot with letting me have a lot of the goods on approval. So pay as you sell. Only because they trusted me. They knew, although I say so myself, if I say something, I stick to it. I always have done. And so Paul Eisenthal helped me a great deal with this. And as I say, I haven't seen him for a long, long time. But his son has now taken over the business. And he made a wedding for one of his daughters. And he invited only 2 non-Jewish people. Maisie was one, and one of his customers, another lady.
Okay.
We sat at the same table. And of course, what a wedding, Henri.
Yes, nice.
If you had the money then, What that cost, you could have bought the completely. I'm not joking. And we're talking about this this wedding. So we went, it was on a Sunday. So we went along there, Maisie and I, for the chuppah. And these women, you know, all these lovely looking women with the scheitels, all the toupees they've got on. I mean, they look better than their own hair. Beautiful. And the chuppah took place, and then we had lunch. Well, I tell you, you see what was on that table. I mean, you name it, it was there. Everything that you could possibly think of.
He was a rich man. He was a rich man.
Very wealthy. And then we, the party started in the evening. This was only the chuppah and lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
Never forget, I had an E-Type Jaguar car. And so I thought, you know, in the evening I've got to change into a dinner jacket, like a suit. I had a suit, but in the evening you wore a different thing. And so I was going to drive back to Luton to change. And I tried to get into the E-Type Jaguar. Not tried, I got into the E-Type Jaguar. What happened? My trousers split. It was all open, it's just as well. So I drove back like that to Luton. And I put on my dinner jacket with the bow tie and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went in the evening for the simcha. Men on one side, women on the other side. Maisie sat next to a woman called Carms, whose son is one of the wealthiest men in the UK. Very, very, I mean, I know them because they, not only jewellery, they did everything.
Is it Jewish?
All Jewish, yes. But when the women turned up in those dresses, I mean, I know nothing much about it. I know Hannah would when you see it. But I tell you what, I thought they were all people I haven't seen before, but I did. They all wore new scheitels.
Mm.
And the scheitels they wore were the better ones they had lunchtime. Because their own hair was impossible, I should think. They looked absolutely gorgeous. But you know, it costs a fortune. Everything is relevant.
Yes.
Where one spends £1 and one spends £100, it's the same thing. To one or the other. And then you get somebody who spends £500, it's still the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you can afford to do. You know, you do your part. I mean, we had a party here, our 60th wedding anniversary. And so I thought, what am I going to do, you know, to Maisie? First we were going to make it a Jewish deal, you know, the proper simcha and that.
Mm-hmm.
But you couldn't do it in Luton. It would have to be in London. And if I would have done that in London, it would have been very inconvenient because most of the people came from Luton. And at that time I didn't think about organising a coach like I did with the stone setting. And so we decided to have it in Luton. And we went to the hotel, the Chiltern Hotel where you stayed once,
Mm-hmm.
before the Arab took over.
Ah, now it's the Arab took over?
Yes, the Arab's there now.
Mm.
And I still go there with Rotary. And we had 120 something people there. Maisie sorted out the round tables and all that. And it was a very, very nice simcha we had. The only thing, of course, it was fish. Because, you know, it wasn't kosher, but we had the salmon. Everything was to do with fish.
Salmon is kosher.
Fish is okay.
Mm.
The plates are not kosher. Big deal.
Big deal.
If anybody wanted Orthodox kosher, black kosher, it's just too bad. So we made a very nice 60th wedding anniversary there.
Nice.
With a band and, you know, the proper thing. Very nice.
So we have to do party?
Yours is coming up soon.
Mine, how?
No, 40.
40.
41.
But you don't make 60.
What do you mean 41?
We are married 41 years.
Is it 41 now?
Yes.
Is it? And you're still on honeymoon?
Sheva.
Yes.
Hannah, you're still on honeymoon, darling.
That's why we come here to Edlnand.
That's why.
78. 77.
No, 40.
Hannah, you were not married before.
41.
No.
You were never married before, no. Yes, I mean, we were married 69 years. Maisie and I. 69 years. We've had ups and downs.
Sure.
Like, look, I always say to people like this, if you get two people, they're both blind, they're both deaf, they're both dumb, they both can't move, they still find a reason to part. They do.
Yes. Yes.
So ordinary people who've got their own characters, two personalities, there are some reasons. Sometimes it works, it's okay. In your case, the first one didn't work. But sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Maisie's nephew in the Isle of Wight, Philip, very, very nice. You'd love him. He's a very, very nice man. And he was married to a very, very charming girl. Very nice. They had one son. But they parted and divorced. I don't know why or anything. But what I'm trying to say is this, although I've been married to Maisie 69 years, there has been times when I was ready to pack my case and go. And so she was as well. It happens. You have two characters. And as I say to you, that even if the pair of them are blind and deaf and dumb or anything else, there's still a reason they want to part. That's what happens. But once you've passed your 40 years, my darling, you don't have nothing to worry about. Then you can go to thick and thin. And I know that you two are right for each other. I know it is. I can tell. You are.
Yes, you are. You're sure?
I mean, well, the only thing I'm sure, Hannah, the only thing I'm sure of, that he's lucky. He's the
Yes.
lucky one.
You
He's the lucky one.
I admit it.
You admit it, of course you admit it. You dare not say otherwise.
No, I can say I'm never shy or something.
It is, you know, I mean, it's a risk that you get married, it's a risk, you don't know what's going to happen. With me, over the years, with Maisie, it's, I mean, we had no children, but she's never been demanding. She's never been one, oh, I must have this because so-and-so's got it. And I don't know whether I've told you the story before. When we first got engaged, I got her a second-hand diamond engagement ring. I don't know what I paid for it. Practically nothing. Couldn't afford anything else. But she was happy. Maisie was happy. It's a gesture. You know, we are engaged. And then after a few years, when things are getting better, and I don't know whether you understand anything about diamonds and stones and carats. You know what a 3.10 carat means? It's a big knacker. So one year for Christmas time, I decided, it's time, my darling, that you'll have a decent ring. So I got her a 3.10 carat ring, single stone. Omega, 18 carat white gold diamond watch. An 18 carat white gold 8mm wedding ring. And that gave it to her. You know what she said? It's lovely.
You shouldn't.
I bought 4. She
You
did.
shouldn't buy.
Bought 4. I want you to have it. But then she loved it. And I said to her, look, we are going with other jewelers, we're going to conferences where these women turn up with their diamonds and their pearls and all that.
You're not
I said, I don't want you to sit there, you know, with the, you got to have something like that. She said, you're right. And so she used to love wearing them. Still got it. It's all going to the auctions, you know, sending it to the auction houses. And not selling it over the counter. It goes to in London to Bonhams. Bonham's is quite an important. I was going to make an appointment. I wasn't well. That's why I cancelled it. About 2 months ago, I was making an appointment to go because I've got to take Ernie Manton with me for security. You see.
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking about a lot of money there, and so he would come with me to take it there, and then they will estimate it. They go through it and estimate it while you're there, what it is likely to fetch. They charge 17.5% for putting it into the auction, and 17.5% if it's being sold. So they're taking a fair amount of money out, aren't they? But what else can I do? But it doesn't worry me. It doesn't worry me. No. I mean, I've got an 18-karat gold watch, a wristwatch, Omega, one of 1,000 pieces, made only 1,000 pieces. And I was in Italy, in the Omega factory where they make these cases, not the watches. The watches are made in Switzerland. And they made 1,000 pieces. So I thought, well, I'll have one for myself. And I did, and I've still got it. It's an automatic, but I don't wear it very often. Why?
Why?
I'd need another stick to hit my whole arm up, so heavy.
It's heavy.
It's 18-karat gold, so heavy. Too heavy. It's very nice, but I prefer something cheap like this one.
Nice.
Motor cars was always the thing for me. As you know, Henri, I love my cars.
I'd have to.
From my E-Type Jaguars to my Rolls Royces.
Mm.
Because in the Rolls Royce you've never been.
No.
You've seen the pictures.
My sister saw it.
Yes, that's right.
Micha saw it.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely, lovely car. Especially the open one. When we were driving down to Italy. Sun shining and wind blowing.
But today, to drive something like this to Italy, I don't know if you can come back with it.
Too dangerous.
Too gentle.
You're quite right. It's too dangerous to leave it anywhere. Even when I went the last time
It's
I went.
only good place in the garage.
Yes. But when you used to go on holiday with it, I used to phone the hotel beforehand with garage.
Mm-hmm.
So I always asked for a garage for two reasons. Number one, I didn't want to take all the cases out, because we only had an overnight case, you don't need all the cases. Yes. And secondly, the car's in the garage overnight. So that's what we did.
Mm.
Yes, it's very nice. That Corniche convertible, that was lovely. Lovely car. It was dark blue, but I didn't like the colour. So I had to repaint it into what is called ocean blue. That was a pale blue, lovely colour. And so it looked lovely. It also had white wall tyres. But I had them taken, I didn't have them taken off, I had them turned round. The white on the inside. It looked too ostentatious. It looked too, too much. In America it might have been all right to have the white wall tyres, but it wouldn't be any good here.
Yes.
So I had the white inside and the black outside. But it was dangerous to take it out, because...
yes, of course, if you are going to London.
It's impossible. I tell you what happened. The chairman of the James Walker group I sold my business to, Jimmy Saunders, he had one, a green one, English racing green, convertible. And then we went to a conference in Brighton one year. I was there with my Rolls Royce as well. And when we went to the garage to pick up the cars, somebody damaged his, put a knife through the roof, scratched it, or mine they didn't. So I was lucky. And so I thought, no, there's too much of a worry.
Yes,
So I sold it.
For what? Huh.
It's a shame.
Yes.
Are there many Rolls Royces in Israel?
I don't know.
I don't know if we have.
I was going to come there with it, you know, with it.
Yes, I remember.
Remember? Mediterranean, I was going to go take it on the ferry
Yes, with the ship.
with the ship,
I remember.
and then to take it to Israel. I don't know why I didn't in the end. Probably because you said, could I drive it when I'm there? I said, no.
No, I never beg you to drive.
I would have let you. But it's a big car. Have you ever been in a Rolls Royce?
Even we come here to London and Margot takes the car. I didn't want her at first to take it. She insists that I take it.
Did she?
Insists, yes. You are going to Luton to see John, you take it.
It's all right, you're driving on the wrong side of the road.
Yes, it was fighting in the beginning.
Of course it is.
You know, the
Especially
first
in the
time
roundabouts.
without only Hannah sit by my side. She doesn't know. Do you know what the problem is? When we got to the circle.
The roundabout, I'm saying
Here
the roundabout.
or here?
The roundabouts is the problem.
Yes, yes, it was also the problem.
Yes. But the trouble that I had once only, it happened to me once only. We were outside this hotel, and I parked the car outside the hotel. In those days you could park anywhere. And the next day we came out, put the cases in the car, and off I went. And as I was driving along, there's a big lorry coming towards me. I said, where's he going? I was on the wrong side of the road. I should have been on the other side. Since then, I never parked that way. Always parked the right side over there. See, that's what happens.
Yes.
I think that
But otherwise,
the tourists that come in England not rent a car.
I don't think that's a good car. I'm afraid to rent a car here.
you haven't driven here at all, have you, Hannah? You haven't driven here in
She
England?
never drive out of our country.
Never.
He always.
I am afraid that she drive.
Do you enjoy driving, or
Not much.
Maisie didn't?
No.
Maisie drove because she had to drive. She took, across the road. That lady all dead now. She used to take her shopping, and she used to visit people, especially the elderly. She used to go regularly, and things like that.
Yes, it's the same.
But otherwise, yeah.
I go to walk before. I go to take the grandchildren.
But otherwise, you do it because you have to do it. But otherwise, it's not a pleasure.
No.
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 Because
Omri love to.
So me, I do. I love to drive for pleasure. I mean, today, even going to Poplar's Garden Centre, I enjoy the drive. It's a lovely car too, I mean, the car is very comfortable. Not the same as my Jaguars. The Jaguars are more comfortable. It's more soft and nice. But in Israel, when I went there, I had a Volkswagen, VW, 1 year, and the other one was a Renault, I think, a French Renault. It's all right. Yes. The only trouble is in Israel, you drive on the wrong side of the road. That's the only trouble.
You managed to drive.
Yes. Although the Israeli drivers, I don't know, Hannah, whether the Israeli drivers are still as mad as they were before.
They are mad. No, it's not easy.
The Italians, the same as the Italians.
Yes. Atzbani.
But in Israel, you see, they're impatient. That is the trouble.
Yes.
No patience. But then there's a lot of traffic. Maybe not where you live, but in the cities.
Yes.
Tel Aviv, Haifa, Jerusalem, yes. So you wouldn't drive out of town?
Nahariya,
If you have to.
Carmiel, yes. Near.
Yeah. So already 5 o'clock again. I shall be going to bed early tonight again.
Yes, you will take us to the hotel.
Yeah, I'll take you.
Mm-hmm.